CBS, welcome home.
Good evening, my friends, and welcome back, everybody. I'm Tom, and the Colorcast is on the air now for Thursday night, February the 6th of 1997. Adam Arkin is here tonight, and our old friend and one of the great writers of our time, Harlan Ellison, and observations on contemporary America. You know, last night here I was talking with Don Rickles. We were chatting for a brief time about President Ronald Reagan, who is 86 years old today, and I mentioned to Don, you know, we've been told that the president has Alzheimer's disease and that he's not doing great. And you have this picture of Mr. Reagan at home, not going out and not seeing people. And yesterday he popped up on videotape at his office over in Century City, and he looked great. And today he was back again. I just want to show you the tape. You know, I know he's 86 years old, but he seems to be doing just fine. And it's just great to see Mr. Reagan out amongst them, waving at people and smiling. And we've got this videotape, I guess, from CBS News, and I appreciate them sharing it with us. I don't have videotape of Tom Brokaw, but he's 57 years old today. And I don't have videotape of Dan Rather, but tonight he starts his 28th year as the anchorman of the CBS Evening News. You know what I thought we'd do tonight? I thought I'd tell a fast story from one of our viewers, and then I have 6 of these questions to which there are no answers. And these are always very, very enjoyable, at least to moi. As the old story goes, a man goes into a pet shop, and he asks the owner if he has a good songbird. The owner tells him, he says, "I've got a canary that sings the most beautiful songs you've ever heard." And so the man buys the bird and takes it home. Now, a couple days later, he notices that the bird has only one leg, and he goes back to the pet store. He says, "Hey, what's with this bird you sold me? It only has one leg." And the owner says, "Well, it sings real good, doesn't it?" And the owner says, "Yeah." He says, "What do you want, a singer or a dancer?" Thank you. Thank you, Mark in Greendale, Wisconsin. If you have complaints, write to Mark in Greendale, the town that time forgot. Anyway, I thought we'd close tonight. Well, not actually close. Just move along with these questions to which there are no answers. And here they are. If you melt dry ice, does that mean you can take a bath without getting wet? You see, you could ask that question and not know the answer. Or if you saw a heat wave, would you have to wave back? Or if a word in the dictionary were misspelled, how would you know? And why doesn't glue stick to the inside of the bottle? And is it true that cannibals don't eat comedians because they taste funny? And does virgin wool come from the sheep the shepherd hasn't caught yet? These are little questions that could be asked as we go along. I got spinach in my teeth. These are from our friend Marion. Thank you, Marion. Her address is not available. Adam Arkin is our guest tonight, leading off, and shortly thereafter, my friend Mr. Harlan Ellison and observations on a cruel and dangerous world. Back after these messages, fire up the color teenies and watch the pictures as they fly through the air.
The FBI's investigation was going smoothly until that darn cat got on their case.
You make me look stupid.
Now, he's turning the crime of the century into the adventure of 9 lifetimes. Disney's That Darn Cat.
Sorry, just coughed up a hairball.
Rated PG. Starts Friday, February 14th at a theater near you.
Okay, guys, to work on your dunking skills, we brought in the experts.
Now there's a great deal on McDonald's Chicken McNuggets.
I want to see some crisp passing.
Grab 6 while they're just 99 cents.
And then take it to the hole.
9 are only $1.59.
You call that a dunk? Easy, Grant.
Right now, 20 McNuggets are just $2.99. Perfect with America's favorite fries.
Watch my slam. Yes! That's a dunk.
McDonald's Chicken McNuggets, America's favorite way to dunk.
At Zales, you can find a great selection of jewelry for Valentine's Day, like these diamonds, now just $99. There, now you know what to get her. Zales, the Diamond and Valentine gift store.
Need to make a collect call? Use 1-800-CALL-ATT. AT&T. Right now, you could instantly win a toasty parka or a cool snowboard.
You win! I won!
A prize every hour from 1-800-CALL-ATT.
You'll love Ross's new markdowns on women's fashions. Save 50 to 65% or more. Hurry to Ross for great savings now.
No. Never. Absolutely not. Tired of hearing no when you need to buy a car? At Cars Yes, we say yes. Yes. Whether your credit is good or bad, we have a financing plan for you. Yes, every car is fully inspected with our 205-point quality check. And yes, our exclusive Yes warranty covers you for 12 full months. Call 1-800-CARS-YES today. Cars Yes, the nation's largest used car company.
Overstock clearance sale. Our season's ending and we must sell out over 3,000 beautiful oil paintings at $49 or less. $49. Incredible. In addition, hundreds of our gallery oils like you see here at unbelievable savings. Quality, selection, and the right price only at Collector's Art. This Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In Irvine at the Irvine Hyatt Regency. In Industry at the Industry Hill Sheraton. In Torrance at the Hilton. In Pasadena at the Hilton. In San Bernardino at the Hilton. In Ontario at the Hilton. In Ventura at the Holiday Inn. In Long Beach at the Airport Marriott. And in Woodland Hills at the Warner Center Marriott.
It's dollar days at Arby's. A regular roast beef is just $1. A beef and cheddar is just $2. And a Big Montana is only $3. Great deals on your favorite sandwiches.
Understanding a tradition of excellence and preserving values. That's what the Boy Scouts of America is all about.
Adam Arkin stars in the CBS drama Chicago Hope, which is doing very well, thank you. He comes from an acting family, as you know. His dad is Alan Arkin. And in a forthcoming episode, there'll be a couple of Arkin family members appearing in the show. Adam, thanks for coming on, and welcome back to CBS Late Night.
Thanks for having me
I
back.
understand that you made a late decision to go to New Orleans and attend the Super Bowl this year.
Well, it wasn't even it was a total surprise to me. I got called Saturday night.
Day before the game.
Yeah. Saturday night, about 10 o'clock at night, I get a call from Jeff Goldblum, who's a friend from way back, and months will go by, we don't speak to each other, and I hadn't talked to him in a long time, but I get this call from him saying, "What are you doing tomorrow, 8 o'clock?" I got no plans. He says, "You want to go to the Super Bowl?" Now, I have never been to a football game in my life.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Never
Not a
been,
college game, high school?
I've never been to a football game in my life. And I said, absolutely, what are we doing? He says, show up here at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I show up at his house. We drive to Van Nuys Airport. We get on one of two private jets that 20th Century Fox Films was sending him down there on.
Man.
Along with Will Smith and some, it was sort of Independence Day.
Private jets to go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, it was the 20th Century Fox Film executives, the head of 20th Century Fox Films, and Fox was carrying the
game,
ball.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
Flew down there, got picked up by a motorcade in New Orleans. Yeah, motorcade of police cops. I mean the motorcycle cops who escorted us to the bowl, and with sirens blaring. I mean, stopping traffic.
Oh my Lord!
Which was my favorite part of the whole thing. I mean, the Super Bowl was very exciting, but to ride in a motorcade and be like screaming, you know, "Get out of the way! We've got a football. We've got cinematic immunity." We were, you know.
And how did you enjoy your first football game?
I loved it.
Isn't it great?
It was an unbelievable spectacle. I mean, I don't think I ever felt more like an American.
Do you know Lynette Nelson, who operates my teleprompter here, went to the NFC Championship game in Green Bay between Green Bay and Carolina, and like you, she had not been to a football game. And she said, you know, when you're at the game, it goes by so much faster than it does on television because there are no commercial breaks. It's happening in real time on the football field.
Oh yeah, and some of the unbelievable plays, that 99-yard punt return. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't believe you'd actually seen it. It was just you felt like you blinked and it had happened, and you know you were dying for a replay of it somewhere. But
well, don't they have diamond vision at the ballpark, at the ball yard?
Yeah, but it goes by very quickly, and they turn it off once the action resumes on the field. They turn it off, and you know it's a different experience seeing it live.
And there's a lot going on there, isn't there?
A lot.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff in that.
Big shows. It's a big extravaganza. Lots of food. It was amazing.
Good. Now, your mom in real life is a nurse, and on Chicago Hope, she did a part, or she's going to do a part, and she's done a part with Isabella Rossellini.
Well, yeah, my mother's a nurse, Jeremy Wakefield. She lives in San Luis Obispo, and she's a big fan of the show and a huge fan of Isabella Rossellini. And when she heard that Isabella was doing a guest shot on the show, she said, "Is there any way that I could meet her? I would so love to meet her." And I got a copy of the script and saw that there was a role in a scene with Isabella Rossellini in which a nurse comes in and says 2 lines. And I went to John Tinker, our producer, and I said, "You've met my mom. Do you think she could handle this? It's not real demanding, and she's very photogenic." And he said, "Why not?" Why not? And she got to act with Isabella Rossellini.
And did she get a big kick out of it, huh?
She was thrilled. They're throwing a party for her next week when the show's on. She'll be on Monday night, and you'll see her there with Isabella. She says one of her big lines is, "He's not here, and we don't have his sample." I'll leave you to guess what she's referring to.
And will the party be here in Los Angeles or in San Luis?
No, up where she lives.
Well, like, where will they have it? At a hotel up there?
No, one of her friends is throwing a big party, and she says, "I'm not going to go. I'm going to watch. I'm too nervous. I'm going to watch it at home alone, and then maybe I'll go to the party afterwards."
And now your dad's coming on too.
Yeah,
he's going to play your dad.
He just arrived today, and we started writing writing the script that we'll be filming on Monday.
And he'll play your dad.
Well, yeah, which is kind of confusing because my father's already been played on the show by Rip Torn, but there's a seamy surprise in Aaron Schutt's past that'll be revealed.
How much do you recall of your days, and how much do you hear about the role that you played as the crazed chef when you were on Northern Exposure some years ago? And you weren't on it every week, but every now and again you'd pop up on that show.
Yeah, I got an amazing amount of mileage out of that role. I think it was partially due to the fact that that show succeeded in creating such a sense of place, real place, that once you established yourself as being a part of that place, everyone thought you were there all the time. I, in fact, did, I think, a total of about maybe 7 or 8 episodes over the entire life of that series. But people would come up to me and say, "Oh, we watch you every week." And I was like, "Oh, thanks very much."
Also, the role that you played there as this eccentric cook, I mean, it had nuances to it that people would remember, and it would stay with them.
He was a great character. He was a sociopathic ex-Vietnam vet, a compulsive liar, brilliant gourmet chef. It was like the role of a lifetime.
And then in real life, I'm told that you still spend some time, a good deal of time in Seattle, visiting your daughter who lives there?
I spend a lot of time going up there, yeah. I go up at least once every 2 weeks and spend time with her, and she comes down here as well.
Now, last week, Bruno Kirby was here, and I think the world of him.
Just that recently, huh?
Yes, just that recently. And he sat in that very chair in which you're sitting. And,
hey, Bruno.
And in reading about you this afternoon, I understand that you and Bruno were pals, and that at one point in time, you and he and others drove to San Diego to see a movie premiere, or to Palm Springs.
Palm Springs, yeah. We were all in an acting class together, Peggy Furie's acting class, the late Peggy Furie, who was a genius acting instructor. And Bruno introduced me to her classes, and we were all studying together, and we'd do a lot of social activities together, extracurricular social activities. And one day Bruno took a group of us, he said, "There's a wonderful film premiering I heard about. The buzz on it is very good, and it's down in Palm Springs." And everybody was like, "What's it about?" Well, it's about a shark. It's like, film about a shark? Well, what the heck? And we drove down to Palm Springs, a big motorcade of us. There's a motorcade theme to all my stories.
Yes, there is. I've noticed that, yeah.
And the film was Jaws. We went down there, saw the sneak preview of Jaws, and came back, and then went into a friend's swimming pool. We all continued hanging out into the night, went into a friend's swimming pool, and Bruno organized a contest in which one of us could reenact the first shark attack the most convincingly.
Really?
So we all took turns.
Had you stopped for anything in terms of libation before you got to the pool, as to where you could enhance?
There was libation there at the pool.
I was going to say.
The only thing we stopped for on the trip was actually we picked cherries on the way down to Palm Springs. So there were libations and fresh cherries.
Isn't that?
We were young.
Yeah. We are chatting tonight with Adam Arkin, who appears as the good doctor on Chicago Hope. The toll-free is up and running at 800-952-2788, and we'll be right back after these messages.
The president of Slovetia.
Where is the teacher?
Oh, Mr. President, it's so dark in this castle. It's hot for putting on liquid liner.
Has hired a new tutor.
You teach beauty school. I thought you taught science.
Yeah, I took to the hand.
And the entire country is in for an education.
Now, shoulder pads are passe.
Fran Drescher.
Oh, this is all you.
Timothy Dalton.
Talk to the hand. Isn't that cute?
The Beautician and the Beast. Rated PG. Starts Friday, February 7th.
In a Saab 9000 Aero with 225 turbocharged horses, you could have serious fun. You could feel the rush of torque. And when Automobile Magazine says you must drive this car, you could admire their keen grasp of the obvious. The Saab 9000 Aero. Find your own road. Saab.
An Irish terrorist kidnaps a sick child.
If the baby's not treated immediately, he could die.
The terrorist is the child's father.
Who knows how many deaths he's caused?
The child is the matter.
Now America's new hit action drama takes you inside the IRA.
We're unarmed.
New network, new champions, all new Jag. Then, Don and Cheech must uncover a sex-crazed murderess.
I got no problem with that.
But could her next victim be Nash Bridges?
Duh. Let's rock.
Following Jag, it's all CBS Friday.
When is heartburn worst for you?
When I'm lying down to sleep.
After my third cup of coffee. Or a spicy meal. Whenever it is, your worst heartburn calls for Zantac 75. See, Zantac 75 starts working fast, faster than Pepsid AC, and nothing works longer. In fact, doctors have prescribed the medicine in Zantac 75 more than all other acid reducers. The smart choice for your worst heartburn. Zantac 75, the final word in heartburn relief.
South Australia's Kangaroo Island, Mother Nature's most amazing and most entertaining wildlife sanctuary. Right now, you can discover South Australia for only $1,799, only with Air New Zealand. That's round-trip airfare and 5 nights hotel for $1,799. See Kangaroo Island and the great vineyards of the Barossa Valley with Air New Zealand, the only airline that flies to 8 Pacifica countries. Book now. Call your travel agent or 1-800-PACIFICA.
Hi.
Hi.
All these yours?
No, I'm a dog walker.
Well, can I help you?
Oh, sure, Cliff.
Come on, let's go, kids.
Come on. Come on, everybody.
Here we go. They all have a mind of their own, don't they?
They sure do.
Yeah. She's pretty tough, isn't she? When do you get your breakfast?
Whenever I can. I go to somewhere where I can have breakfast all day.
You know, I'll bet you'd like IHOP's French Connection. Luscious French pancakes and golden French toast with bacon, sausage, ham, and eggs, all for $2.99.
Have you ever walked any other kind of animals?
Iguana.
What do they eat?
Omelets.
With Adam Arkin, here is Holly on the toll-free in Ponce Inlet, Florida. Hi, Holly, and welcome to CBS Late Night.
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. How about yourself, Holly?
I'm doing great.
Great.
I'd like to know. Hi, Alan.
Hi, it's Adam behind.
I'm sorry.
Adam. It's all right.
Adam, I'd like to know what are you most proud of that you've done in your career?
I think
picking cherries on the way back.
Well, picking cherries, that was big. I think my Broadway debut was a very, very big deal to me. It was in a play called I Hate Hamlet, and it was. I think it would have to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was very nervous going back to New York and appearing on Broadway, and it went well for me. I got nominated for a Tony in the same category that my father had been nominated for his Broadway debut, so it had a lot of meaning for me.
And during that performance, I hear that you worked with the legendary actor Nicole Williamson.
Yes, yeah.
And I understand that Mr. Nicole Williamson at times could be, as they say, difficult.
Yeah, he was...
In the best sense of the word.
Yeah, I like to think he was going through a rough period at that.
By the way, he's a fine actor. I saw him years and years ago in a production of Osborne's Inadmissible Evidence in Philadelphia, and the evidence wasn't in Philadelphia, the play was in Philadelphia. And he was brilliant on the stage.
He's a brilliantly talented man, but he was going through a rough period at that point and decided after our opening night to rewrite the play.
Really?
Yeah, and informed me and Evan Handler that at half hour that he was going to be rewriting the play. So we were having to make stuff up on stage to compensate for the fact that he was on stage at times he was supposed to be. And,
he'd be off stage rewriting. And
he'd be off stage hanging out until the play came back around to that part of the play where he was the center of attention.
Really?
Yeah.
And then he would mystically reappear.
Yes, yeah.
Do we know why it was a difficult time for Mr. Williams?
No, I can only imagine.
Were there any like untoward incidents on stage that happened as a result of the rewriting?
There actually were. One night in a choreographed sword fight between him and Evan, who, suffice it to say, the two of them did not get along. And there'd been trouble brewing between the two of them. And in a sword fight in which he was supposed to, according to the choreography, give him a slight tap on the behind with his sword as he lunged past him, Nickel had completely lost his temper with him at that point and slammed him across the derriere with his sword.
Really gave
and
him a
Evan,
whack, huh?
Evan proceeded to walk, after he got hit, just kept going off stage and never came back.
Out the door, into a taxi, and off into the night.
Never came back. And this was at the end of Act One, so a lot of interesting
things
adjustments had to be made that night. Nickel made a speech, an impromptu speech, because he was left alone on stage all of a sudden. He says, you know, we've had an actor leave the stage, which unless one is very, very sick, is a completely unprofessional thing to do. I really don't know what to do now. Shall I sing?
And how did the audience...
She's still there.
Yes, oh yes. And the audience enjoyed this, no doubt.
The audience, I think, at that point was afraid.
He's whacking guys on stage.
They didn't know what could happen
yeah.
next.
Anyway,
they saw two actors playing the same role in one night, which
could be
alone
confusing.
was a
Yeah.
little confusing.
Holly, thanks for calling and have a great evening, okay?
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. To Chicago Hope here. The direction the show had to change when Mandy Patinkin left the show.
Mm-hmm. It had to change quite a bit. I mean, a good deal of the writing had focused on him and his character, and he had created, I think, a sort of tornado of activity and interest around that character with brilliant work. But it was a big adjustment, and a lot of people speculated whether we would have a future when he left, and I'm happy to say that we have. We miss him, but it's...
Well, may I also say, having watched the program, that the direction the program has taken has created a greater focus on your character.
Yes.
I mean, you have come forward now in Chicago Hope.
Well, someone had to, Tom.
I know. It's a dirty job.
No, we've been really lucky in that the show has had, you know, I think just when the show gets pegged with having a certain identity, it transforms itself again. And you know, Christine Lottie came on in Mandy's with Mandy's departure. She came on. We've had cast additions this year that I think have been really important to the show. Mark Harmon, Rocky Carroll, and Bill D'Elia has come on as co-executive producer, and the show has constantly gotten new life and new energy and is changing.
And I'd like you to share with the audience your off-camera activities with our friend Hector Elizondo. I believe you and he play pom-poms or something.
Yeah. No, we don't play pom-poms.
Or bongos.
Pom-poms they had at the Super Bowl.
I meant to say bongos.
Yeah, we play congas actually, which we're both Latin percussionists, and when we get a break in between the scenes, we run off to our dressing rooms and the drums speak, Tom. The drums must speak.
You did a production in Seattle here recently with Meryl Streep. The work is called An American Daughter by Wendy Wasserstein.
Yeah, technically it was a workshop of this play. It was a chance for Wendy to hear for the first time her work in progress. And Meryl Streep is a friend of hers from college and agreed to participate in the workshop. And I was lucky enough to get offered the chance to play her husband in it.
In a workshop setting like that, does an actor get feedback or opinion from others around him? Like, did you get feedback from Meryl on your work, or did you get it from Wendy on your work? Did you hear opinions?
This was an extraordinary, it was an extraordinary couple of weeks for me, because it was sort of nonstop input from and going into the production from all of us, and it was a real eye-opener for me, because to be working with a Pulitzer Prize winning playwright and see someone that essentially was trying to do nothing but inspire an environment where questions were being asked. and seeing how Meryl worked in the same way. I had never worked with an actor or actress who was as willing to admit when they didn't understand what was going on.
Very good, very good.
So it was a constant digging and peeling away.
And like, would there be occasions where you would say, I don't know what's...
We all were.
Okay.
Everybody was encouraged to ask questions and think creatively, and not that everything everyone thought of was immediately put into the play, but the atmosphere was encouraged by Wendy, I think by Meryl, and certainly by Dan Sullivan.
You know, it would have been nice, just thinking about it here, if during that performance of I Hate Hamlet with Nicole Williams and others, if you had been able to simply look at the audience and say, I don't know what's going on here, you know.
Well, there were so many people in the audience saying that at that point. I think it would have been redundant.
Continued success on Chicago Hope, and thanks for coming over, and my best to your father, okay?
Thanks very much.
All right, my pleasure. Adam Arkin is the guest. He's on Chicago Hope here on CBS. You'll check the listings for the exact time in your area. Next, Harlan Ellison, Observations on America after these messages. Adam.
You got a client meeting at 4 and you better be there.
You're not gonna wear that, are you?
Hey, lady, you're out of Huggies.
Life getting kind of complicated? Try the simple luxury of an Accord V6 sedan from Honda.
The Star Wars trilogy is back on the big screen, and each planet is celebrating in a different way. On Earth, people are playing Feel the Force at Taco Bell. Press the game piece to magically reveal if you've instantly won cash, one of millions of prizes, or a special edition Hummer. See the trilogy, Feel the Force. Play the game at Taco Bell.
Are you sure this is the right theater? I'm not even sure it's the right planet.
I run a small business, Wilderness Air. In Kodiak, Alaska, we provide some of the best salmon fishing in the world.
One of the things that Pete likes about my mailboxes, etc., is that we're able to provide a lot of the services that a small business owner needs.
Because it's not just shipping fish. The fax machines, the copiers, receiving my mail, airplane parts, coming and going.
Everything that one business needs in one location.
I've brought John 65-pound king salmon.
They're more like this.
No, they're this thick.
Mailboxes, etc., making business easier worldwide.
Promise me you'll come back for me.
I promise.
They found him near a plane crash. A man with no name.
I think I was a pilot.
And no country. Now, to uncover the truth, they must unlock the mystery of his past.
Ask your saint who he's killed.
Now, the year's most acclaimed film is the Golden Globe Award winner for Best Picture of the Year. The English Patient. Rated R. Now playing everywhere.
Jerry Seinfeld didn't get rich working for nothing, so guess what he's getting to be on 60 Minutes Sunday?
I get nothing. Nothing.
Isabella Rossellini in a rare television appearance, a woman with one last chance at motherhood.
We can fertilize the eggs immediately.
I want this baby so much.
But her desperation...
It isn't Graham that I'm worried about. It is my eggs.
...blinds her to the truth.
He has to want to have this baby just as much as you do.
All new Chicago Hope, CBS Monday.
Fantastic news as Six Flags launches an incredible season pass offer. Buy now for just $44.95 and get more value than ever with unlimited visits to Six Flags Magic Mountain. Flying high in 97 is Superman the Escape, 100 miles per hour in 41 stories. The fastest, tallest thrill ride on the planet is a huge addition to Six Flags' awesome arsenal of thrill rides and water rides, plus the new Batman and Robin live action show. You get a big premium coupon book packed with savings like a free ticket to Six Flags Hurricane Harbor Water Park, a free visit for a friend, a free kids ticket, and a free parking coupon. Plus free special events and concerts, and your pass is good at all Six Flags theme parks. Visit twice and your pass is more than paid for. Visit Hurricane Harbor, bring a friend for free, your parking pass, your free kids ticket, 2 special events, your premium book discounts, subtract a low season pass price, you've saved hundreds. A Six Flags Magic Mountain season pass is California's best entertainment value. Call for yours now.
Save up to 80% by buying factory direct at the Jewelry Exchange in Tustin.
Diamond tennis bracelets are just $200 per carat. Diamond studs just $400 per carat. Anniversary bands are also just $400 per carat. The Jewelry Exchange imports their diamonds direct from site holders and is the leading manufacturer of semi-mounts, anniversary bands, pendants, earrings, tennis bracelets, and invisible settings. Only the Jewelry Exchange gives you both a low price and double value guarantee. That's the Jewelry Exchange in Tustin, 714-542-9000.
Harlan Ellison's writing career has spanned more than 40 years now, including more than 1,700 essays, stories, articles, screenplays, teleplays, and books. His latest works include City on the Edge of Forever and the 2 volumes of Edge works. Here is a colossal pain in the ass, my friend Harlan Ellison.
Okay, I've been waiting for this one.
I know you have.
I got one for you now. The parrot joke made me. I mean, I wouldn't have done it to you, but you told the parrot joke. So this is the joke that I've heard. I think is the funniest joke I've heard in years.
I'll take it.
And I use this as a barometer of whether people will remain my friends. If they don't laugh, I can never see them again.
And do you ever, when you're making one of your sensational public appearances, tell this joke to a crowd to warm up the crowd?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
This is a one-to-one joke.
Never before
This is a one-on-one joke. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Huge explosion in Chicago. 30 floors of a hotel smashed, absolutely pancaked down.
Right.
They go in with the rescue teams, and they got the dogs, and they got the sonar search, and they're finding bodies and lath and plaster, and it's a debacle. As they go on through, they hear a voice yelling, "Help me, help me, I'm trapped, I'm trapped." And they say, we hear you, we're coming. Keep talking, we'll get to you. And help me, help me. Where are you? I'm in room 1206. See, that's why we're friends, okay. Now, half the people sit down there and say, what?
Huh?
What? Is that funny?
That is very funny.
That is a funny joke.
Almost as funny as never mind.
Do you want a dancer or a singer? Come on.
Anyway, let me get some observations as seen through the prism of Harlan Ellison's eyes. The O.J. civil trial verdict, which came in about 48 hours ago, and reaction to it.
Well, I think only a fool could not know that the man did it. Mm-hmm. That is my perception. I think people who don't want him to be guilty for reasons that have nothing to do with the murder do themselves a great disservice. I despise him, not so much for the murders, which are bad enough, but because of what he's done to this country, the way he has divided it. I saw millions of dollars spent on cops out there just to protect against a riot from this guy who is arrogant. His arrogance is astonishing.
Let me ask you here, and I want you to be precise in your words because I don't want you to get yourself in trouble. Was it he that caused racial division, or was it the so-called Dream Team, Johnny Cochran?
It's both of them.
And F. Lee Bailey and Bob Shapiro.
I think they are shameful. They are shameful. Bailey and Shapiro and Cochran, and they know he's guilty. An imbecile would know he's guilty, and they have put that stuff out there. It is so bad. I was listening to one of the black radio stations and one of the call-in shows, and a woman called in and she said, "I think this Fred Goldman is just a big crybaby."
I heard that.
I couldn't believe that anybody would say the man lost his son. She said his son would never have made $8.5 million his whole life, and I thought, you stupid woman, you stupid. I don't care whether she's black, white, or paisley. That's a stupid person saying a thing like that.
Well, not necessarily a stupid person.
Not ignorant, stupid.
But a person whose mind has been conditioned by years of hearing the kind of stuff that Johnny Cochran put forth in the courtroom in the criminal trial of O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time, and I really fear, my friend, that the division between African Americans and Caucasians is getting worse and not better.
Listen, I marched with Martin Luther King.
I know you did.
And
you rode the highways in the South in the 1960s.
Yeah, and nobody remembers any of that. And I think about all those people who are now in their 60s and 70s who put their lives on the line marching out there with cops with cattle prods and
hoses.
And hoses and the snipers and all the people who lived there. I mean, it was easy enough for guys like me. I was able to leave and go home. There were people who lived there. They just disappeared. You'd go to their house and the food was still cooking on the stove and the whole family would be gone. Mother, father, 3 kids gone. They just, and they did that to make this country a little bit better for black and white alike. And I look at it now and I think, did they do that for gangsta rap and for O.J. Simpson? I mean, O.J. Simpson, I'm blacker than O.J. Simpson. He's the whitest dude I know, for God's sakes.
The call now on the part of some leadership in the African-American community for a retrial of James Earl Ray, who, before he passes away, that he must have some secrets that he could share during a trial that we don't want to go with him to the grave. the whole concept of retrying James Earl Ray to find out if he had any help, if there were any co-conspirators in the murder, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr.
Do you think he's going to spill it at this late date?
Of course he's not going to.
No.
And if there were a conspiracy, I don't think it could be kept quiet for these many years. And the same about JFK. Yeah. The government, as you and I both know, can't keep a secret 15
minutes, right.
15 minutes. So they certainly couldn't keep the conspiracy of JFK or Martin Luther King going for, what is it, 30 years now.
I love people who go for conspiracy theories. I love it. You know, James Dean is not actually dead. He's hideously disfigured and living in a mental institution in Indiana, right? And only the Martians know about him. Periodically, they take him up there for a rectal examination. You know... You know, they got to be really stupid aliens. If, you know, it doesn't take all that much to learn what the human system is like. You know, one rectal probe, you got it. That's it. You know, a little sphygmoscopy, and you got it.
Now, there's an article in the current LA Weekly magazine, which is published and distributed here in Southern California, in which they reprint an article that Gay Talese wrote some time back, which supposedly recounts a meeting between you and Frank Sinatra and Mr. Sinatra's entourage, in which he was drinking and you were wearing some fancy boots.
Yeah.
And you claim that it's wrong because the Talese article.
No, I didn't say it was wrong. I said what I told your guy was that Gay Talese. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. And,
okay.
And there's a reason the reason I don't go into it. And this is when it happened. It was big time. A lot of people thought I was going to be, you know, they were going to find me at the bottom of the ocean with cement shoes. Cement shoes. The reason I don't talk about it is not that because I come off looking like a champ in the story. I mean, I really look good. It was like, you know, showdown at the OK Corral. But I don't talk about it because Gay Talese wrote at the end of the section about me. He wrote, by the next day, Sinatra would have forgotten the whole incident, but Harlan Ellison would remember it the rest of his life. I said, screw that! You know, I got enough bones. Screw it. Let him make his bones off me. I'm not going to make mine off him. And so I never talked about it. Never talked. And only every once in a while when somebody would come across the article in Talese's book or in Esquire would they say, hey, did this really happen? And the amazing thing about it, and you notice how I'm skirting the whole story.
You certainly are, as I've never seen you skirt before.
Well, it's a long and basically stupid story in which Sinatra acts like a Jimbo, and it went a lot further than is in the article. So now a week later, this took place at a place called the Daisy. Which
I remember it well.
Right, it was a discotheque in Beverly Hills. That was during my 6-month Hollywood period, you know. I learned very quickly. That was working for Aaron Spelling for 6 months, did that. So I would sooner, you know, gnaw off my own arm than do that again. So I come into the Daisy, and here comes the owner, Jack.
I can't think of his name.
Hansen, Jack Hansen.
I can see him. Remember, he used to sit there at lunch all the time when people went past.
And he had Jack's slacks. Jack's clothing was
JAX,
most beautiful women in Hollywood would go there. And he says, do you know who Gay Talese is? I come in about 6 o'clock, and I said, yeah, he's a terrific writer. Because in those days, Talese was just starting. He'd done New York: A Serendipitous Journey. He'd done The Bridge about Brooklyn Bridge, and he was really hot.
Was Honor Thy Father out yet?
No, not yet.
Still to come.
He was just big in Esquire, and he had gotten all of the hot assignments, and he said he wants to talk to you. And I said, Gay Talese wants to talk to me. He said, yeah, so I went and I was sitting talking to Gay Talese, just like I'm sitting with you. And he says, I understand you had a little problem with Frank Sinatra in here the other night. And I said, no, there's no big deal. And he said, well, I heard it was quite a thing. I said, no, it was, you know, and I'm shining it on, and he keeps pressing and pressing and pressing. He said, well, tell me about it. So I said, okay, and I tell it to him. And he says, yeah, that's exactly right, when I'm all done. And I said, what do you mean, yeah, it's exactly right? Yeah, it was exactly, but why? He said, I know, because I was there. I said, you were there? He said, yeah, I've been following Sinatra around for a month doing this article, and I was there in the pool room when it happened. And he said, what I've done is I've gone back to every incident that's happened to him over this last month to talk to the people who were there, who didn't know I was there, to see how they would exaggerate it and change it. He said, you told it exactly the way it was. I said, well, you know, I was a journalist and I got a mnemonic memory. Right. Well, when he wrote it, he left out the last part of it. He ends it with me leaving the room. In fact, I did not leave the room. Sinatra was dragged off into the bar by 3 guys, one of whom was Dean Martin.
Why was he dragged off?
Well, he was bagged.
Oh, okay.
He was drunk and he was making a fool of himself,
and
a really unpleasant situation developed where everybody got scared. I was shooting pool with Peter Falk and Leo DeRocher and Omar Sharif, who's a wonderful man, but the world's biggest fish when it comes to shooting pool.
And playing bridge. Well, and going to the horse races.
He's a great bridge player, I understand.
A very great bridge player.
But he's a terrible pool shooter. But he's a nice man. And when the thing started between me and Sinatra, everybody just, you know, it was like a cartoon. Everybody had vanished into the walls. They didn't want. And here I am standing there facing Brad Dexter. You hip to Brad Dexter?
Nope.
Brad Dexter was the guy who had saved Sinatra's life when Sinatra took a header off a yacht some years before, so he made him his producer, and he was a giant. This is a guy with 6 feet in any direction. You know the Magnificent Seven?
Sure.
You remember the guy who kept saying, "It's gold, it's gold."
Sure do.
Right? That's Brad Dexter.
Okay.
I mean, huge. He goes through a door sideways, and this guy is bracing me, and I'm standing there. I'm 5'5" and very skinny, and he's giving me a hard time. So there was a thing that happened, and let us move on to the next.
Yes, we'll be moving on now, away from the pool hall, and
that's a long time. That's 20 years ago.
And the thing that happened there. But I understand that you walked out under your own power and the other guy didn't.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Harlan Ellison is the guest. The books are entitled City on the Edge of Tomorrow, and Edge works back after these messages.
Where do germs live that surround your gums and teeth? Take the plaque scratch test to find out. We won't look. That film is plaque, and this removes it. Remove plaque and germs before you brush with advanced formula plaques.
Through Valentine's Day, Zales has the lowest prices ever on our entire selection of Diamond S jewelry. Every necklace, every bracelet. Like this 2-carat, now just $379. Our lowest price ever. Zales.
My grandfather, my father, both my brothers, my kids will probably have thinning hair. Losing my hair was probably one of the most traumatic experiences in my life. But the great thing about Rogaine is you can interrupt nature. You can stop it. It takes 30 seconds, twice a day. It's easier than brushing your teeth or putting on deodorant. About 4 months later, my wife walked by and she just was, "Hey, wait a second, you're growing hair. Check this out." And it's thicker, it's fuller. It's great. I'm a user for life.
We got a dandy of a show tonight.
Today's got Super Bowl hero quarterback Brett Favre, and
I don't want to betray any secrets here.
It's no secret, it's comedian David Spade. Tonight.
On America's Night of Television, she's faced tragedy and triumph. Now, a mysterious disease
Should recover.
There's a chance I may not.
will be her greatest test on Dr. Quinn. Then, a terrifying headline.
If I can't change it.
A man on the run. Is he destined to commit a crime?
Get away from that gun!
All new early edition CBS Saturday.
We take you now to the K-Big laboratory.
Through the miracle of science, we are now able to observe the effect of radio on the human brain. Exposed to sleepy coast music, the brain begins to doze. Star and Kiss play the same songs over and over. Now this is K-Big 104. Note the absence of sleepy stuff and not the same songs over and over. Just today's upbeat mix. K-Big 104, today's upbeat mix.
The amazing Dirt Devil Ultra Hand Vac. Now with twice the power and a built-in hose and crevice tool to reach into places you've never reached before. Nothing escapes the power of a Dirt Devil. The amazing Dirt Devil Broom Vac sweeps and picks up dirt in one easy motion. You'll never have to stoop to using a dustpan again. Nothing escapes the power of a Dirt Devil.
We're back with writer Harlan Ellison, and I'd like to relive now your undergraduate career at Ohio State University, in particular, your relationship with Dr. Charles Shedd, who I believe was a professor of yours at Ohio State.
Well, briefly till I punched him out.
See, you decked him, huh?
Well, no, you got to understand.
You're a violent little guy, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could say otherwise. I don't like it. It's not something I like in myself. I have a very low BS threshold.
Mm-hmm.
I can only take like today was the suckiest day I've had in months.
Really?
Yeah.
What sucked about today?
Well, let me tell you. A year ago, a very nice man named Jeff Fazio, who's a producer on an upcoming series on Showtime called The Hunger, calls me up and he says, "I'm in business with Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother, the director, and we want to buy a story of yours called The Face of Helene Burnell. We want to buy another story of yours called Footsteps, I think it's called, and we want you to write it, and blah, 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 blah." Nice guy. So I say, fine. You know, I've been working in television and movies so long. My soul is like a shrunken peach pit. I mean, I have no faith anymore that anything will not turn out to be absolutely corrupted and turned to dung. But he's a nice man, and he says, "I'm gonna, you know, I'll watch out for you on this." Blah blah blah.
Look out, make sure that it doesn't get tampered with. Okay.
I'm with it all the way because I'm the producer. So I said, fine. I wrote a script. You know, if I had it here, And if you saw it, and if I say to you, it sang. This script just sang. It was wonderful.
Okay,
wonderful
good stuff.
script.
Good stuff.
Well, it takes the guy a year to get it together, and Tony Scott is a Looney Tune, and he's driving him crazy, and they finally get it sold to Showtime, which is not known among its executives for the depth of their intellect. I mean, we're talking here about people who have the depth of a bowl of tapioca, and not to be.
Don't sugarcoat this.
Yeah, well, screw them.
Yeah. Okay. So what did they do to your song?
I didn't even know they were doing it. I didn't know that they were even shooting it. They were supposed to shoot it in London. Now they wind up in Montreal. 2 mornings ago, I wake up and a fax is there, and it's a PR release from, of all people, Karen Black's PR guy, who, for some inexplicable reason, wants me to see Karen Black's publicity. And it says, just completed shooting.
And for the non-players, Karen Black is?
An actress.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, just for those who may not know the name.
How about if I tell them who Sojourner Truth was?
No, don't.
Okay, all right,
don't
okay.
Get smart with me.
I'm not getting smart with you. Okay, I just assume people know things.
So Karen
You're right,
Black's...
people don't know anything anymore. And so, to make a long story really obnoxious, and it says she has just finished shooting the pilot of The Hunger. It talks about a woman in a wheelchair. I said, wait a minute, my script was supposed to be one of the 3 in this pilot, and that isn't my story. And then then the light dawns. Wait a minute, the publicity is out. They must have shot it. So now I tracked down Jeff Fazio in Montreal, and I said, Jeff, it's Harlan Ellison. He says, his first words, I've been dreading this phone call. I said...
And we can see why.
And I said, oh, yeah? Why is that? He said, well, Showtime stuck us with an idiot as a showrunner. That is a line producer. They call him a showrunner. Who, when he got up here, we found out that he had worked for Aaron Spelling doing cop shows, and he was awful, and he was an idiot. And they rang a writer in on us, an American who will come up to Montreal to live, and he rewrote you. I said, he did what? He rewrote you. And I said, yeah, and how did it turn out? He says, it's crap. And I said, oh, really? I said, do I get to see it before you shoot it? He says, it's in the can. It's been shot.
Oh, man.
I said, Jeff, you lied to me, man.
You promised me.
You bent me over and you did it to me. I said, how could you do that? And the guy tugged his foreleg. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And he really meant it. Sure. And I said, and you know, it's like, everybody cries the blues for people like O.J. Simpson. Poor man, poor man. You know, after the crime is done, there's all of this reaction, and he was asking for me to give him absolution.
A pass, okay?
An absolute,
pass out of his own...
And I said, no, man. I said, you know what's the worst thing about this business? I said, you decry the bad guys, and you get a gig, and you want to do this job, and you make this compromise, and this compromise, and this compromise, just to get it on the air, and this one, and then one day you wake up and you are one of the bad guys. I said, you screwed me, Jeff. I can't forgive you. You screwed me. Send me the scripts. I want to see them and see if I'm going to keep my name on them. The script is so bad. It came this morning. It broke my heart.
What we're seeing here is the frustration of a man who has created something in which he believes deeply and finds out that somebody else has taken it and third-partied it into something that it never was supposed to be.
And I know he fought for it. But he let the suits talk him out of it. He said, well, they insisted on this, and they insisted on that, and they insisted. And I said, insisted? What do you mean? They held a gun to your head? Hold a gun to their head, or leave the damn job.
Why do you write for movies anymore?
I don't know. I don't do it very much, and I've just messed up badly. I was supposed to do an adaptation of my book Mephisto and Onyx for Miramax, and they're the nicest people in the world. They're absolutely wonderful people, and I had the heart attack in April, and they were kind, and they gave me months and months and months, and I sat down and started writing, and the more I got into it, the more I knew it was going to wind up at some point right where this script wound up, and I couldn't do it. And they finally did. They took me off the picture.
Let me do a fast break here, and then I must hear why you hit Dr. Shedd at OSU.
Because he was a schmuck, that's why.
Oh, well, I got to find out why. Harlan Ellison is the guest, back after these messages.
Still washing your dishes before you wash your dishes? Why? When there's the Jet Clean dishwasher from Maytag, with more powerful cleaning jets than any other dishwasher. Maytag, the dependability people.
Grand cinnamon rolls from Pillsbury.
They're ready.
The most enormous, ooey gooey, luscious.
Should we wake the others?
Let them sleep.
Now with more icing.
They're not just big, they're grand.
Need to
make a collect call? Use 1-800-CALL-ATT. AT&T. Right now, you could instantly win a toasty parka or a cool snowboard. You win! I won! A prize every hour from 1-800-CALL-ATT.
Want a tissue that makes kids say ah, not ouch?
Ow. I hate the way ordinary tissues hurt them.
That's why there's Puffs Plus. Tests show they soothe better than regular tissues.
See? It's soft.
Puffs Plus has lotion with aloe and vitamin E.
It's got lotion. That's why I feel so nice.
And why Puffs Plus helps sore noses feel better than regular tissues.
Wow. Because when they feel better, I feel better.
Thanks, Mom.
Puffs Plus, the soft and soothing ones for your loved ones.
It's the heart of cold season. Raspy coughs, sore throats. Here's the power to see you through it. New improved Halls with advanced vapor action. More power to soothe.
And this is a guy thing, right?
Schick brings you the shaving system for sensitive skin.
Is this a sensitive part?
Designed to give a smooth shave with less irritation. Schick. Tracer FX.
You the sensitive type? I like that.
My brakes are gone. Any chance I could get that fixed in a couple of hours?
Tell you what, leave it here. I'll see what I can do. Check in periodically.
I was wondering, how's my car coming?
I have 3 of my best guys on it right now.
With Pep Boys 12 service bays and expert technicians, you're in and out fast. 26,000 items, tires, and service too. Pep Boys, everything but gas.
If you're like most people, it's hard to remember all the things you need from the store during the course of a day. So like most people, you find something, anything to write on and make a list.
For fast relief of acid indigestion, heartburn, or sour stomach, reach for Maalox Liquid Antacid. With our $3 refund offer, Maalox is yours for an incredible 33 cents.
Just bring your list to a Good Neighbor Pharmacy.
There are more than 200 Good Neighbor Pharmacy locations in Southern California. Call 1-888-GMP-STORE for the one nearest you.
Is it true that you have the lowest grade point average of any student who has ever attended Ohio State University?
I did at the time that I was kicked out of Ohio State, and years later, when they paid about $5,000 to have me come back and lecture, I still had the lowest point average, which was out of a 4.0, you know, which is
sure, perfect,
which is solid, which is perfect score. I had 0.034 or 86, something like that, which is 4 Fs, 3 Zs, and a question mark, I think.
How could a guy with your brain power possibly have that kind of a grade point average?
I wanted to write, and it was a terrible school, and I had this English professor, Shed, who told me I had no talent, I could never write, I would never write, and he said since I was minoring in geology, I probably had rocks in my head, so I tagged him one, and I left the school. There was listen. Can I take, go. First, I got to say hello to Chuck Pogue. If I don't say hello to Charles Edward Pogue, who wrote Dragonheart, he will get very upset because he too has been screwed on scripts, and we are simpatico in that. And I told him I'd say hello to him. One of the great. I got to tell you about that. I get 6 of these a month at least, and what it is, it's a letter from a kid in college. This is a kid named Andrew Thomas Sayre, and he's studying film production at Keene State College in Keene, New Hampshire. And he says, and he writes me, and he says, I took one of your stories and I made a film script out of it, Pretty Maggie Money Eyes, and I'm using it for my class project, and my professor likes it and says I should go ahead and do a movie and blah blah blah. And I called him today and I said, you don't understand, kid.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. It's copyrighted, and it's not his fault. And I'm addressing this to all the students in colleges who are in film schools. Your professors are jerking you around. You cannot take copyrighted stories and turn them into anything. Write your own originals, and if they don't tell you that, just jump their bones and make sure they don't.
Let me ask you a question. If he makes this film to show only to the class, and then it's not shown commercially for profit, is he allowed to do that?
Can't do anything with it without my permission, but it's so easy to get my permission. If he's going to show it for that purpose, all he's got to do is get in touch with me. I give him a letter of permission for that purpose, and that's the end of it. But they don't tell him that, and it's a bad thing for these kids to learn, not learn, that there is a primacy of interest of the writer.
You see, I'm guilty of that same thing. When I was in college, I had radio workshop. We did radio adaptations, and I did a Dragnet. I had never played on the air, but it was my final exam for a radio production course.
I had to go and sue a kid once, about 7 or 8 years ago. And they collected off him and his family, and they are out selling their bodies on Wilshire Boulevard at this very moment.
I saw them this afternoon.
They were
sales not going well.
Can I show the book?
You can do anything you want.
Okay, this is my next book. You hold it up because they'll trust you. That's my next book. It comes out in March. This is not the real book. This is actually
let's take a look at this book.
It's not the real book. It's just the cover. It's the advanced cover.
This, for heaven's sake, this is a completely different book.
Oh, you shame me. You shame me.
No, the real book isn't out yet.
It'll be out in March. But they sent me the cover. They said if you can get it on the air, and I said I would.
Of all the things that you have seen done by other writers, either on television, on film, or in print, who do you admire a lot?
I admire, there's a writer named David Webb Peoples who wrote Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood film. Brilliant, brilliant writer. The finest writer in America today is Donald Westlake, the mystery novelist. I think the best movie I've seen in 10 years is The People vs. Larry Flint.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the few films I've ever seen that makes me proud to be an American. And it also makes this incredible philosophical point that we dare not, at peril of our freedom, dismiss even the scungiest, most ratbag among us, because you never know which one is going to become the vehicle for a great social movement or truth.
The only thing I didn't like about that picture, I thought Woody Harrelson and the gal that were unbelievable, and Ed Norton as the attorney was brilliant. Yeah. Hands down winner of Best Actor Supporting, okay? Yeah. The music, it was like music in a church. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, they're deifying him. I mean, Larry Flint once wanted me to write for him.
I got to go to a break, so make it fast.
He wanted once to write for me. I said, if Larry Flint came to my house, I'd have the doorknobs cauterized.
On that note, Harlan Ellison is the guest. The books are called City on the Edge of Tomorrow and Edgeworks. We'll be right back.
City on the Edge of Forever, when you get it right once.
Right up there, it says City on the Edge of Tomorrow.
Well, they got it wrong.
They got it wrong, not me. I'm taking the rap for them, and I'm sick of taking
I wrote it.
City on the Edge of Forever and Edgeworks, and I'm on it.
Our hair has gotten the same, you and I?
Yes, it has, and you've made mine gray. Back after. Bye.